Greetings, Oitlins, and greetings, lambs. I'm your Truman Kesey. These are my two personal tales that involve the famous band called the Left Banke. A 15-year-old young man named Kevin Walsh lived up the road from Georgetown University. In the nearby suburbs of Maryland, many top Roman Catholic families abode in the middle to upper middle class neighborhoods about 2 miles outside of Georgetown. These families shared surnames with some of the most potent Jesuits and Roman politicos associated with Georgetown, who were likely uncles of the children whom I knew. Walsh, Kelleher, McSorley, McManus, Bliss, and so on. Kevin abode in the same neighborhood as famous operatic singress Beverly Sills, whose residence there is not documented in her online bio. I find a lot of Wikipedia bios leave out significant information. For example, I knew Nils Lofgren's first wife. I went to school with her. The same school you're going to hear about later on. And she's not mentioned in Wikipedia. Only his second wife is mentioned. So Beverly Sills' residence in Tulip Hill, Maryland is not mentioned in the bio. At least it wasn't when I checked it. Also living in the same Tulip Hill was famous lawyer Edward Bennett Williams, who represented Mafia Sam Giancana, Frank Sinatra, Hugh Hefner, Jimmy Hoffa, John Connolly, Mafia Frank Costello, and many more famous folks about whom you can learn on the World Wide Web. Also, Edward Bennett Williams, owned parts of the football team Redskins and the baseball team Orioles, as well as other interests. Also, living in that neighborhood was the CIA operator E. Howard Hunt, who he abode in the neighborhood. He was a key man in organizing the purported assassination of President JFK. My parental abode was across Massachusetts Avenue from that neighborhood. Kevin, the 15-year-old young man, Kevin Walsh, was one of sundry youngsters for whom I used to buy beer using my fake ID. Kevin made a trip to New York City. After he came back, he claimed to have consorted with a hit band called the Left Banke. Kevin claimed that he played keyboard on their hit recording Walk Away Renee. Lately, I sought to find Kevin listed as the player on that recording, but found that some other player was credited instead of Kevin. When Kevin came back, he was using heroin. He was 15. Kevin was charismatic. He was a Leo, sun sign, and he persuaded others to try the drug. One of these was Martin Tomilovich, a son of one of the vice directors, not sure the exact vice president, of the U.S. Post Office Department. Marty became a lifelong addict, though he never or scarcely ever missed a day of work. Another of Kevin's victims was Hugh Hughes, son of Admiral Hughes. Once upon a weekend, my brother spent the day at Marty's house while Marty and Hugh hounded him until he finally succumbed and tried the drug that resulted in a lifelong addiction which led to his death. This is Kevin's legacy. Whether the left bank was involved with Kevin's heroin abuse is not known by me for certain. My brother was another who never or rarely missed work while he provided for 2 children. Another of Kevin's victims may have been addict Max Garrett, son of the vice president of Merkel Press, which I think is a local D.C. publisher. Max was a neighbor of and became socially close to Chilean dignitary Orlando Letelier, who died after a bomb exploded in his car while he was driving along Embassy Road in Washington. The bomb was set by DINA, the Chilean Secret Service, under the tutelage of Mossad. Max died of his addiction while he was in middle age. He had another notable moment in his life when he appeared as a punk, starring in some commercial on British television. He had safety pins in his cheeks and he was dressed like a punk. A bit farther out than Kevin from the D.C. border, from Kevin's parents' abode, dwelt one Sandy Rosen. Sandy abode in the district of my high school, Walt Whitman, but wherefore unknown by me, she went afar to Montgomery Blair High School, the same attended by famous comedian and actress Goldie Hawn, mother of famous actress Kate Hudson. Goldie was wedded to Kurt Russell. I'm saying these facts because you might be a youngster or even a youngstress, and you might not. I talked to somebody recently who was in his early 20s and didn't know who either Goldie Hawn or Kate Hudson was. So that's why I'm putting more detail rather than just Goldie Hawn's name. Somebody my age would just know enough by the name alone. I'm over 36, by the way. That's my exact age. I saw Goldie in a theater's lobby in California after a surprise showing of her first moving picture, Cactus Flower. Goldie was a couple years ahead of me and Sandy Rosen in school. I attended Montgomery Junior College, where I later met Donald Fagen, a founder of the band Steely Dan, whom I drove to home from school almost daily. There, in the line of the cafeteria at the school, I met for the first time Sandy Rosen by her hugging me about the midriff. Her shoulders are about the height of my midriff. That's why she's hugging me in the midriff. Some weeks afterward, we were beside each other in the same line or queue in the cafeteria when she put her head against my ribs and told to me a tale while she was much disoriented and confounded. She had spent the weekend in New York City and had gone to a party held by the left bank and had drunken a drinking that someone had spiked with lysergic acid diethylamide. She was distraught. You have heard my 3 personal tales having to do with the left bank. I wrote down 3, but I realized there are only 2 of them. There's Sandy Rosen and Kevin Walsh, who might have been lying anyway. He might have had nothing to do with why he picked the left bank. He must have had some contact with him. Otherwise, why would he pick that particular band to lie about? If you want to learn more about me, you can visit the URL that I shall display for you on the screen. And a link might be in the description, depending on which sharing site you happen to find this on. See you next time. Now bear in mind, there is no L in Kesey. Okay? Thank you for your attendance to this videograph. Let's see which mouse cuts this off.